Making headlines this hour, Maldivian President congratulates Sri Lankan President-elect Gotabaya Rajapaksa. President inaugurates the new Malay Area Command Operations Centre of MNDF. And fresh violence erupts around the Hong Kong University campus as protesters braced for a possible final police push to clear them. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Hello and welcome to PSM News in English with me, Larif Ahmed. Now the news in detail. President Ibrahim Muhammad Solih congratulates the President-elect of Sri Lanka, Gotabaya Rajapaksa. In a tweet, President Solih extended warm congratulations to President-elect Gotabaya Rajapaksa for a resounding victory in the presidential election. The President expressed he looks forward to working with the new administration to enhance the close and fraternal ties between Maldives and Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka's former wartime defense chief Gotabaya Rajapaksa is set to become president after his main rival conceded defeat in an election that came months after bombings by militants threw the country into turmoil. Supporters got to the streets preparing large banners and putting up the party flags while firecrackers are pulled out for the celebrations. Rajapaksa oversaw the military defeat of Tamil separatists under his brother and then President Mahinda Rajapaksa 10 years ago. He has promised a strong leadership to secure the island of 22 million people. President and Commander-in-Chief Ibrahim Muhammad Solih inaugurates the new Malay Area Command Operations Centre of Maldives National Defence Force MNDF. President Solih opened the new command centre at a special function held at the MNDF headquarters. The new centre utilises modern technological advancements to monitor special operations and enhances the capabilities of the area operations centres of MNDF. The ceremony was also attended by Minister of Defence Amaria Ahmad Didi, Chief of Defence Force Major General Abdullah Shamal, and other high-ranking officers of MNDF. MNDF Malay Area Commander Colonel Abdul Rauf gave a presentation to President Solih about the capabilities of the centre during the function. Presidential Commission on Investigation of Murders and Enforced Disappearances reveals an extremist religious organization was behind the murder of former parliamentarian and religious scholar Dr. Afrashim Ali. The former parliamentarian was brutally murdered in the stairwell of his residence in the early hours of October 1st. The Commission has conducted a thorough investigation about the planning and motives behind the murder and the people who financed the heinous crime. The Commission investigating the murder forwarded the report of their findings to President Ibrahim Muhammad Solih. President Solih later shared the report with the Prosecutor General's Office, Attorney General's Office, National Counter-Terrorism Centre, Maldives Police Service and the Parliament of Maldives. The Commission conducted a thorough investigation about the planning and motives behind the murder and the people who financed the heinous crime. The report concluded the plot was planned by an extremist group operating in Maldives. The people behind the organization were identified in the report as Muhammad Mazid and Samit Muhammad, who plotted the murder against the former parliamentarian. The two individuals assigned the task of murdering Afrashim to a local gang. The report identified the people who actually murdered the former parliamentarian. Azlif Rauf was identified as the orchestrator of the attack who instructed Hussein Humam, Ali Shan and a minor to carry the task. Although the minor was not charged for the crime, Shan and Humam was charged with the murder. Humam was found guilty while the state could not produce ample evidence to the court against Shan. According to the report, a group of people suspected of plotting the attack left for Qatar the same night Afrashim was murdered, while another group left following the day. The report also claimed the statement given to the Commission by former Minister of Islamic Affairs, Dr. Muhammad Shahim Ali Said, did not tally with his phone conversations and the text messages on his phone. According to the report, Shahim urged Afrashim to participate on a television show. The report further said Shaheen requested Afrashim to apologize to the public for the disputed opinions he had given on religious matters. If the minister was unable to give Afrashim a chance to go on the program, a news conference was also planned for him to apologize. Speaker Muhammad Nasheed remarked Shaheen wanted Afrashim to join the program. It was said in the report that Shaheen was also part of the group of people who left Maldives at the day Afrashim was killed. The report further said an amount of between 260 to 390,000 US dollars was funded to murder Dr. Afrashim. The report also included the people who spread religious extremism in the Maldives. Responding to allegations against him, Shaheen said on Twitter, the report was compelled to accuse innocent people to conceal the actual murderers and plotters. He also denied all allegations against him, stating that he refrains from violence and violent acts. He also affirmed the statement he gave to the Commission was true. The report said the statement provided by Shaheen was false. Maldives Immigration introduces en route immigration clearance services for passengers traveling to Maldives on cruise ships. At a special function held on board MS Costa Victoria, the service was officially inaugurated by Controller General of Immigration, Mohammed Ahmed Hussain. Speaking at the function, the controller said Maldives Immigration has worked diligently for the past 15 years for the institution to offer such services to the public. He also highlighted the work of the administration to enhance the border control system. He also applauded Maldives Immigration for the successful work of developing mobile seaport clearance services last month. The introduction of the mobile seaport clearance system allows immigration to update information of travelers to Maldives via seaports as they arrive, allowing it to identify and apprehend people with criminal records. The recent developments and improvements to the border control systems saw updating the Personal Identification Secure Comparison and Evaluation System (PSCS). The bench presiding over the money laundering case of former President Abdullah Yameen Abdul Gayoom at criminal court decides to schedule a verdict hearing on November 28th. The bench decided to continue the case without restarting the hearings after Chief Judge of Criminal Court Ahmad Hailam was suspended over disciplinary issues. Judge Hailam was suspended before the previously scheduled verdict hearing on November 5th. The chair of the newly set up bench, Judge Ali Rashid, said the decision to continue the case was a consensus of all judges of the bench as the court has completed taking statements from the witnesses. The decision was also in accordance with the Criminal Proceedings Act, as it allows a judge or bench to continue a case without restarting the hearings. Regardless of the decision to continue the case, the bench allowed the state and the defendant to present any new information or evidence. Upon giving the opportunity, the lawyer from the Prosecutor General's office remarked that no new information or evidence is to be presented to the court. Lawyers of former President Yameen requested Judge Ali Rashid to refrain from the case as the defendant has lost trust in the judge due to a media interview he gave to a local channel. After a short recess to discuss the issue, the judge decided to be part of the bench as the law allows him to continue chairing the case regardless of the interview. Minister of Finance reveals the state income reached more than 1.3 billion by November 7th. Ministry of Finance reveals the state income reached more than $1.3 billion by November 7th. The statistics of the ministry shows the state received the highest income from taxation. In this regard, about $912 million was collected as tax revenue, while an estimated $326 million was generated from other sources. So far, foreign grants and aids received amount to $65 million. The total tax revenue of $912 million included about $417 million as goods and services tax (GST), about $215 million as business profit tax (BPT), and about $176 million collected as duty on imports. The amount received as green tax included $46 million, while airport service charge amounted to $39 million. The amount also included about $5.6 million collected as remittance tax. The total state expenditure amounts to more than $1.4 billion by November 7th. The recurrent expenditure stands at more than $1 billion, while capital development expenditure amounts to $345 million. Managing Director of Greater Malé Industrial Zone Limited, Ibrahim Rashid Abu Bakr, states warehouses in Malé City which store chemicals are being transferred to Tilafushi, Kafatol. After the fire incident at a warehouse in Malé on September 20, which destroyed several residential buildings in the capital city, the government has decided to transfer all such warehouses to Tilafushi. Speaking to PSM News, the managing director said the newly built warehouses in Tilafushi to store chemicals are designed with safety standards. He remarked the challenging task of building new warehouses had been completed 6 days before the deadline set by President Ibrahim Mohamed Saleh. He noted the warehouses were developed at a cost of $618,000 and preparations are underway to transfer 34 warehouses listed by Maldives National Defence Force (MNDF). He added the warehouses were developed in 54 days with fireproof walls and roofs, alarm systems, and equipped with safety gear. The warehouses are located in a remote area of the island. The newly built warehouses have been insured and the area would be continuously monitored by security personnel. Additional warehouses are being developed with a high standard of safety for business purposes. Maldives Customs Service MCS introduces advanced rolling services to enable businesses to collect information about the type of goods, rate of duty and origin before arrival and allow companies to calculate in advance the cost of imported goods. In a ceremony held at MCS, the service was launched by Managing Director of Reefside Company Private Limited, Hassan Zahir. In addition to the advanced rolling service, the statistical yearbook of 2018 was also introduced at the ceremony. MSC has informed the public the advanced rolling system will pave way for fast clearance methods of cargo for import and export businesses and more transparency in the services. MSC stated the newly introduced advanced rolling systems operate in advanced countries of the world and builds trust between customs, authority and businesses. The Statistical Yearbook of Customs is published once a year to inform the public about the types of imports and exports of the country and the amounts of revenue generated by the state. Leaders of the BRICS group of emerging economies criticize what they view as politically motivated protectionism at a time of a global slowdown and said their countries are doing their best to counter the trend.
At the annual summit, leaders of China, Russia, India, Brazil and South Africa called for greater inter-BRICS trade and investment and urged the group's new development bank to pump more funding into infrastructure and sustainable growth.
This engagement here today is one of those essential channels through which we can find common ground on common challenges. Key countries in the global economy are currently facing slowing growth, complex challenges to their trading relationships, or a turn away from the open, rules-based global trading system to being much more closed and introvert.
Citing International Monetary Fund forecasts, Russian President Vladimir Putin said global growth rates have been declining without interruption since the beginning of 2018 and will reach the lowest point in 10 years. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi said his country aims to be a $5 trillion economy by 2024, up from $2.6 trillion in 2018. He said the BRICS targets for investment and trade must be more ambitious and welcomed suggestions to further reduce trade costs. Brazilian President Jair Bolsonaro said Brazil is recovering international confidence but needs more economic reforms to create a more attractive business atmosphere for investors.
Fresh violence erupts around the Bayside Hong Kong University campus as the protesters brace for possible finest police push to clear them after fiery clashes overnight.
Huge fires had lit up the night sky at Hong Kong Polytechnic University in Kowloon district hours earlier as protesters hurled petrol bombs, some by catapult, and police fired volleys of tear gas to force them up onto the podium of the red brick campus. After a few quiet hours as protesters slept on lawns and in the university library, police fired fresh rounds of tear gas shortly after 1000 hours. Activists hurled petrol bombs in return, some igniting trees outside the campus. Parts of the campus looked more like a fortress on Sunday morning, with barricades and black-clad protesters manning the ramparts with improvised weapons like bricks, crates of firebombs, and bows and arrows at the ready. The campus is the last of 5 universities to be occupied, with activists using it as a base to continue to block the city's central Cross Harbour Road tunnel.
Cheering and singing crowds greets a new Montreal Impact head coach Thierry Henry upon his arrival in Canada.
The French star stopped to sign autographs and take photos with fans as he made his way through the crowd at Montreal Trudeau Airport. Thierry Henry signed a 2-year contract with an option for the 2022 season. Financial terms were not disclosed for the 42-year-old, who will be formally introduced on Monday. Henry scored 51 goals in 122 matches with the Red Bulls from 2010 to 14, the twilight of an outstanding career that included stints at Barcelona, Arsenal, Juventus and Monaco. He also won a World Cup with France in 1998 and is the country's all-time leading scorer with 51 goals in 123 games. Henry previously worked as an assistant for the Belgium national team and as Monaco coach. He succeeds Wilmer Cabrera, who in turn replaced fellow Frenchman Rémi Garde on August 21st and led the team to a 2-4-1 record in MLS play. Although Montreal missed the playoffs for the 3rd straight year following a 9th-place finish in the Eastern Conference, Cabrera gained a bit of solace in the Impact, winning the Canadian Championship title on September 25th against Toronto FC at BMO Field.
Thousands of people celebrate the advent of the 500th anniversary of the foundation of Havana before an unprecedented fireworks show on the iconic boardwalk of the Malican.
Rain and chilly weather forced the suspension of several public events planned for the anniversary of the city, but the authorities maintained the fireworks display that was the most anticipated event of the evening. Founded by a Spanish conqueror on November 16, 1519, Havana is considered one of the architectural jewels of Latin America, and its official celebrations began this week with the state visit of the kings of Spain. Among the first congratulatory messages received this Friday was that of Pope Francis, who in a video addressed told Cubans he felt happy to be able to share in the city's anniversary. Events to commemorate the half-millennium of the Cuban capital have included the inauguration of renewed sites, concerts, and the lighting of fortifications and monuments in the city.
That's all we have for you today. Thank you for being with us. Have a great day ahead. Goodbye.